Hi everyone, it's Gabrielle, and today we're going to go through the 2026 Leaving Cert exam predictions for German. Just a quick disclaimer before we begin. These predictions are not guaranteed to come up, so make sure to cover every topic on the course before the exams. These predictions are based off evidence from previous exam years and from predictions given to us by expert teachers. Now, enjoy the video. As you may already know, Leaving Cert German is broken down into 5 sections. There are the reading comprehensions, the grammar section, the written section, the listening comprehension, and of course the oral exam. So in this video, we'll firstly go through the 4 common themes that can crop up throughout the exam, and then afterwards, keeping these themes in mind, we'll go through specific tips and predictions for different parts of the exam. So there seems to be 4 common themes that crop up throughout the exam papers every year. First and foremost, there is die Umwelt, which is the environment. It was 2023's journalistic piece, and then in 2024 it came up as the narrative piece, as there was a man who found old comics and books and was trying to repurpose them. And then in 2025, the Ausführung zum Thema asked about extreme weather conditions, so clearly this topic can come up in any shape or form. So to really be prepared for the exam, be sure to go through your environment vocab. Die Medien, the media, has also been a really common topic throughout the exam papers in recent years, and how it crops up in the exam can really vary, from like how much time you spend on your phone to computers in the classrooms and to our engagement with social media influencers. Informatique and its impact on young people tends to be a common topic in Leaving Cert papers in general. For instance, in the last 11 years, it has come up 10 times. So although the use of technology and the possibility of banning mobile phones came up in the Ausführung zum Thema last year, you should still know this topic overall really well. It can crop up anywhere from the written part of the exam to the reading comprehensions or to even the listening comprehensions as well. And then not surprisingly, since we are learning a foreign language, Ausland is also a common theme that crops up in the exam. Along with learning a language and the advantages of that, it is a really common topic. Gesundheit is also a very common topic, and it features frequently on the listening part of the exam, for example, when they talk about accidents. So keeping in mind these 4 themes, here are some specific tips and predictions for different parts of the exam. So firstly, what do you need to know about the reading comprehensions? The first 4 parts of question 1 tend to be asked in German, so you need to answer the questions in German. If you don't do this, you'll lose a ton of marks even if your answers are correct. So although it's difficult to predict what sort of questions will come up here, do be sure to know your German question words. For example, wann, wo, warum, etc. Moving on to the grammar section, this is worth the fewest amount of marks in the exam, and so therefore you can leave it towards the end because it's quite quick to fill out. In terms of what will come up in the grammar section, questions on the tenses are really common. They often give you a sentence from the reading comprehension text, and then they will ask you to change the tense, or even just ask you what tense the sentence is written in. Therefore, you should really know the irregular verbs in different tenses, like the past tense, the perfect tense, the past perfect tense, the present tense, the future tense, and the conditional tense. The substantive is also extremely common here. In the grammar question, it is a matter of identifying whether the noun is masculine, feminine, or neutral, and what case it's in. For example, who is doing the action, so nominative, who is receiving the action, accusative, who is the indirect object, dative, and ownership, which is genitive. And relative pronoun questions can also come up here. The best way to study for this part of the exam is to actually go through past grammar questions, and once you get enough practice, you won't have a lot of surprises come up on the day of the exam. So on the Studyclix website, we actually have a whole topic dedicated to past exam paper questions in grammar. So those are categorized for you to easily find them. Definitely check those out if you'll be revising this topic. For the written section, you'll see the Ausführung zum Thema and the schriftliche Produktion. We already went through the common topics that can come up here, so I guess I'll just say that examiners are really strict on 2 things in this part of the exam: word order and tenses. This is where the most amount of marks are lost for this part of the exam, and remember that if a sentence has no verb, it will get no marks. By the way, if you are looking to really improve in this part of the exam but don't know where to start, I'd highly recommend for you to check out our annotated sample answers for the German written section. We have loads of sample answers with H1 phrases that you can steal for your own answers, and these answers are annotated by expert teachers showing you exactly why one answer got a H1 and the other one might have gotten a H2. So moving on to the listening comprehension, here it is really important to remember that section 2 in the higher level paper will ask the questions in German. Like for the reading comprehension questions, if the question is asked in German, you answer in German. But moving on from that, the most amount of marks in this part of the exam are dedicated to the new section, which is section 4. Here you're basically guaranteed a question about the weather, so be sure to know all the weather vocab in German. The other sections of the listening are kind of tricky to predict. However, if you follow German news sources on Instagram and TikTok, then maybe you'll get a sneak peek of what will come up in section 4 of this year's paper. And finally, my one piece of advice for the German oral exam is that you may get a question that'll ask you to talk about the future. Before you answer, I'd really recommend saying, "Das ist schwer zu sagen, denn man kann die Zukunft nicht voraussehen." That means that is hard to say because one cannot predict the future. So if you learn this phrase off and say it before you answer the question, it will make you look a little bit more fluent in German. And if you're looking for some more tips for the oral exams, I'd really recommend for you to check out this video all about tips and tricks for tackling the orals. So that's it for our German predictions. However, if you're looking for predictions for subjects like Irish, Maths, and English, do be sure to check out our predictions playlist, which will be linked in the description box below. I really hope this German predictions video helped, and best of luck with the German study. Bye! Tschüss!